Hey there guys, this is Caitlin here and welcome to Card Game Tuesday, the day of the week where we discuss all things card game related, whether it be deck profiles, lore, spoiler articles and whatnot. And today we have something a little bit different. I was originally planning to do a deck profile today, but then this cropped up on the internet and I felt compelled greatly to discuss it at length. Well, maybe not at length, but at least discuss it for the duration of this video. And this picture in particular, it surfaced up in, I don't know if any of you guys are on the Force of Will, like if you've seen the Facebook page, but this was in the US, the American Force of Will fan page, and someone posted this. I don't know if they managed to post a source to it. I wasn't able to find a source with it, so my apologies for that. I couldn't find a source to see if it was definitely official, but seeing this artwork, I have a strong suspicion that this is going to be, well, I feel strongly that it's official because the artwork itself looks very, perfect for this card game. The text obviously is matching, well, the End of Fate's Lapis Cluster Part 3 and, the Force of Will Train Card Game. The logo and all that look perfect, and it looks as if someone's taken a photo of it. So that makes me think it's some kind of promotional poster or something like that, and that's why it looks not the best quality or whatever, and how you can see a kind of faded line here, but this makes me think that, as it says up here, Lapis Cluster 3, this is going to be the third set in, this is going to be the third set in the Lapis Cluster, Return of the Dragon Emperor. Now, two questions that we obviously have to have is, one, what is the Dragon Emperor? And two, who is the Dragon Emperor? Now, well, obviously, the Return of the Dragon Emperor is obviously going to be the name of this set, or potentially, again, no confirmations right now, like Facebook or whatever. Force of Will have not came out and confirmed this as real. They've not given any indication about what the set is after Vengolf 3, because we know after Legacy Lost, Vengolf 3 will be happening sometime in the new year. I think it was about either January or February. So we know that this is not coming out immediately after Legacy Lost. It's going to be Vengolf 3. We know this is not part of Vengolf 3 because obviously it says Lapis Cluster 3 here and Return of the Dragon Emperor. We know that Vengolf 3 has that as its name. It's not going to have some kind of weird subtitle or whatever. Plus the colour of the font is totally different. Vengolf 3 had kind of a blue and yellow font, and this is totally red. So there's nothing connected. Although it's kind of strange how Vengolf 3 talked about Dragon Master J rulers, and yet the picture here we have is of a dragon, and the name of the set is Return of the Dragon Emperor. Now, that aside, who is the Dragon Emperor? Now we have I have three theories here that I want to pitch to you here to try and discuss it. Okay, first of all, not including the picture, but the first option that comes into my mind when I hear Dragon Emperor is Bahamut. And if any of you guys are kind of new, you maybe jumped on board at Atlas Cluster and you don't know anything from Grim Cluster, back in Grim Cluster there was a ruler known as Bahamut, and he was the Dragon Lord / Dragon Emperor. He was a pretty OP kind of guy. He was one of the favourite rulers back in the day in Grim Cluster because you had Bahamut Blast and Bahamut Burn, and he was one of the main rulers for an aggro deck in Fire. He was some kind of dragon guy. Now, I can't quite remember exactly what impact he had on the story. I do believe he was working with Abdul, the kind of the prophet, the darkness prophet guy. He was working with him for some reason. I'm not quite sure how far they worked together. I believe he was delivering a magic stone or a book to him or something like that. But they worked together. I don't really remember what happened to him in terms of the story. I don't recall any kind of fight with him or kind of explicit thing coming from him, so I don't really know what happened to him. So one of the things I could think of is perhaps Return of the Dragon Emperor could potentially mean that Bahamut is making a return. Potentially he's coming back from where he was, where he vanished to whatever. Obviously 30 years have passed in the Grim world, so either he's going to be a really ancient dragon, well, ancient in terms of the characters in the story anyway. We don't know really how old Bahamut was anyway, but he's going to be older or whatnot, or maybe it's his successor, the successor of the Dragon Emperor and stuff like that. So the new Dragon Emperor, perhaps a son or relative of Bahamut. So that's the first one I'm thinking of, because the text is all red and stuff, and we've got a dragony logo. So I feel potentially number one, it's Bahamut. Number two, it could be Millium. Now, the reason behind this is because if you look at the colour scheme of the picture of the dragon here, we have mainly a white silvery body with black undertones. If we look up at the head here, we've got some kind of tuft. It looks like hair, or it potentially could be feathers, whatnot. coming out in black and silvery white strands. We also have kind of blue leathery wings reminiscent of Milliam's cape, and around the dragon's head we have a starry crown, which Milliam also possesses when he's using his sword. Also, check out the blast coming from the dragon's mouth. It's a blue colour. What colour does Milliam's sword turn when he's using it, like to grant power to give energy to others? It turns blue. And on top of that, look at this circle here. This circle seems very reminiscent of some of the artwork we've seen of Milliam using his power. So I feel like Milliam may have gone full Corrin from Fire Emblem Fates, and somehow he has the ability to turn into a dragon. Now, obviously, we have no idea, obviously, if this is true or not, whether it's official. And people were pointing out, in the Milliam ruler, on his ruler side, he had a dragon with him. This dragon never appeared in the card game itself, besides from that piece of art. We have no idea where this little familiar kind of creature came from, what it was, why it was there. It was never like an assistant card or anything like that. It wasn't like some kind of like minion to Milliam, like same way that Zero has her familiar and Feasting had her familiar. It never showed up. It was just there in the card art, and obviously it wasn't a fairy tale because, you know, you don't really have any specific dragons in fairy tales other than like the big bad dragon or whatever that's protecting the princess. So it surely couldn't have been a fairy tale. So what was the dragon doing there? And also, in recent kind of flavor checks and whatnot, it's been hinted at that there's either something wrong with Milliam's sword, because it seems to be like resonating with a eerie power and he seems to not be able to control it very well, or there's something up with Milliam in regards to, if you've been reading the lore or whatnot, and the story posts, with the magic stone that Lunia said that Lumia had discovered and gave to Milliam. Milliam reacted very strongly to it. He could sense an immense amount of power, and it was resonating only with him. And Charlotte said that the power reminded her of Lapis. So maybe there is some kind of connection with, say, this kind of dragon transformation and, you know, the people of Altia. I was like going to say maybe there's some connection with dragons or whatever to with Altia, because as we've seen so far, there's been a lot of dragons showing up to do with Altia. You obviously got the flame dragon of Altia, you've got like the ice dragon of Altia, which was in the Mercurius deck, I believe, and then with Sol, you have like the dual type water fire dragon. So I feel like Altia, although they have like a strong connection with like ancient magic, they also have a strong connection with dragons, and this could also potentially lead into, some people have debating like, oh, Milliam is like Lapis's brother or his father or stuff like that, and blah blah blah. You know, people are saying, oh, time travel mechanics and things like that. So that's my second theory behind this. The third one, I don't believe as much. I'm not too like keen on it or strong on it, as my dog barks very loudly from the kitchen. The third thing I was thinking of is potentially Grimm. Now, I'm throwing it out there because I honestly don't believe that that's the direction this is going. The only reason I'm throwing Grimm out there is because he is the only other character we know of that has black and white hair, who has the crown of stars and whatnot, and has, you know, immense amount of power as the king. But I feel like if this was Grimm, the wings wouldn't be blue. I think they would be red, because Grimm is often depicted wearing red over blue. Milliam has the blue cape, Grimm has like the kind of red robes and whatnot. So I don't think this is Grimm, but he's like the third option, mainly because of the connection with the colour scheme and the star crown and whatnot. So those are like my potential options of who this might be. I mean, I could be entirely wrong, and this might not even be official artwork to do with the game. Maybe someone just photoshopped this up. Maybe this, like, you know, is just a very, 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 very good attempt at mocking up like a potential card or potential promotional poster for this set, but well, for the set after Legacy Lost. But you know, I mean, I find it to be very, very convincing. Like, I'm looking at it, it looks very convincing. It looks like some kind of epic card art, potentially our J ruler side, kind of similar to Sylvia, how she had her normal human side on the ruler side, and when she flipped she was a dragon. Potentially that could be what they're going for in like the third set, Return of the Dragon Emperor, something like that. Although the mention of dragons does make me want, like, begging makes me want Sylvia to return. I highly doubt it's going to happen. I say it every time like dragons are brought up. I'm just like, potentially Sylvia, but no, like I don't know if she's ever coming back, much to my dismay. But what do you guys think of this picture? I know it's not like much to go on right now. It's only one image. I haven't been able to find a particular source for it. As I said, it popped up in like the Facebook group, so I'm not quite sure like how they found it. But let me know, guys, what you think down below. Who do you think this mysterious dragon is? Who do you think the Dragon Emperor is? Do you think this is actually going to be the third set for the Lapis Cluster? And I'll see all you guys later on for the spoiler discussion of Legacy Lost for today.